Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, all around the world. I'm hanging out with one of the coolest main events that you'll ever see in your life. And he goes by the name Sydesho. So make some noise for my man Sydesho.
Thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it, man.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Want some gummy things?
Taking the whole thing with me, man. I'm telling you.
So what's up, Sydesho? Tell the people who don't know who you are a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Sydesho. I'm an MC. I'm also a b-boy. And actually a youth educator on hip-hop. I run a nonprofit called Push Learning in Media. I have a band called the Funk Underground. I work at Brown University. I currently teach there with a dance company called Rock and Rhythmics. And generally, I'm just a hip-hop kind of dude. Just came to spread the culture of hip-hop and the essence of it, basically.
I mean, and that's pretty much like the whole hip hop culture. You hit on every on every element. Like you hit all the elements of hip hop.
So basically, started like dancing like 6 years ago, right after like school, and since then I've been able to like connect with a lot of people, and basically through these connections I've been able to like build certain things. A lot of things that I'm working on right now. So with my nonprofit, Push Learning in Media. Basically what that is a nonprofit based on using hip-hop to talk about racial inequality and social injustice in America, and also like segregation. So we like book these schools basically that are like predominantly white, and then we have these conversations with these kids on like white privilege and like what appropriation is basically when you're involved in hip-hop, and also like other cultures that are like from the African diaspora.
So how do you go into like predominantly white environments and have that conversation as like a minority leader?
So me and my business partner Eric Axelman, who's white. So basically, the way that we approach the scene is that we perform for like 30 minutes, so that gets the kids to like us and think we're cool. And then we have like a whole seminar. Yeah, we like
that's what it's about. Everybody got to think you're cool. That's ultimately what it comes down to.
We trapping. No. So then we have like a 30-minute like hip hop performance thing where we rap, and then I do some spoken word and like I dance a little bit. And it's pretty cool, And then afterwards we have like a whole like a slideshow thing where we like show kids like the stats on like segregation maps, and also like the way that segregation has actually been in the rise after like the 60s, like past the crack era and stuff like that, which not a lot of people know. We're like kind of blinded to think that like America is like very integrated and we're very diverse, but slowly and surely like we've been getting more segregated, because what happens is that while people of color move into like the suburban areas where white people live, these white people move out and they find other areas to live in. So like it still creates segregation in certain ways.
That's crazy.
But then we use hip hop as a way.
You just schooled me, bro, because I never looked at it. It's one of those things where it exists. Like like I was telling one of the crew members, Zeke, I was telling him you grab a piece of tape, and like tape is so relevant in your life that you never really think about like where does tape come from.
Exactly.
So like something like that, like moving into a new environment, you're right. Like as we progress, minorities, or not even just minorities, but people who like started off in a really low position, as you progress, you move into like better neighborhoods and better environments.
Yeah.
But then you start seeing for sale signs and like
like
vacancies, and you start seeing all these openings.
Racism
that never connected that blatantly before.
Racism is still rampant in this country, especially after like recent political things that have happened recently. But the things that we learn in like high school and like the textbooks and stuff like that, it doesn't need like even really go past like as far as like people of color and their politics. It doesn't, after the 60s it's just like assume that everything is all good. You know what I mean? You don't like hear the narratives of like you don't really hear the narratives after like post that era, basically.
Right.
Like you just
like once all the written laws were taken down, like all of that, it's like, oh, everything is great now. We got rid of the actual rules.
Like legally segregation can exist, but but people can do whatever they want. So they it's like they do it in different ways. You know what I mean? So it's like
That's dope. That's dope. So as one of the performers from the area that travels outside the country every now and then, I know you did that whole Canada tour.
Yep. So
what was your perspective on it, like from that route?
So basically, with my band, the Funk Underground, we went on a 14-city tour. We went to Philly. We did a show here in Providence. Went to Boston. Went to Montreal. Went to Toronto, Hamilton, Chicago, Detroit, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Rochester, New York, and Ithaca, New York. I think I said that already. And then Boston. I probably named like too many cities. No, but
it was a lot of cities on the tour.
No, it was really good, man. We booked all the shows ourselves. You know what I mean? It was like we're independent artists booking the shows ourselves. Just putting a package together to to deliver to venues. And along the tour, we also did like educational things for like community centers for free. So we did like free like dancing workshops, free like rapping workshops along the way. our homie Moises Rogers. He was like doing like drumming and like beat making and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. And Canada itself is like really like, it's a very welcoming kind of like city, you know, like they look at Americans as like, you know, like, you know, like very cool and very hip to like all the new stuff or whatever. And like it's really accepting. And like Canada, it's like the environment there is really different because I think for me, having free healthcare like makes a difference in like the mentality of the people. You know what I mean? Like it seems like they have different issues. Like, you know, their issues are more social, it seems. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes our issues are more like, you know, based on income and like, you know, economy and stuff like that. And not saying that they don't, but, you know,
but that's
their
like
government kind of has their back. It's like it makes a difference, you know what I mean? So,
that's really interesting because instead of, you guys didn't just go on tour, you pretty much took like an educational musical experience on the road, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, so.
Like, how'd you guys, was that the plan from the get-go or was it like something that you guys worked out afterwards?
No, so like, you know, during the day we, you know, well, at the time, but, you know, we're educators ourselves. So like I teach after school programs, you know what I mean? I teach in Newport, I teach in Boston, I teach here in Providence. And basically we decided that like being able to do that was gonna be able to bring us on tour. So it was basically mainly based around the tour. I mean, around like the education. And then we just booked the venues at night afterwards, you know what I mean? Nice. So like, you know, we did a GoFundMe and like we got a bunch of people that like, you know, were like really into education to fund that part of it. And then we used those funds to also like, you know, bring us out there, but basically like double up. So like during the day we did a few nonprofits in Hamilton, Canada, in Toronto, in Philadelphia, things like that. So it was really good, and we used that, you know, that motivation to just do the other stuff extra. So the first part of it was the educational tour, and the second part was like the shows and the venues, you know, stuff like that. So
that's pretty solid. Solid. So given your deep-rooted hip-hop connection and like you're a very different type of hip-hop artist. You're the type of hip-hop artist that I wish we could like introduce the entire world to all the time, because I feel like you listen to radio and everything is like, oh, like bad girls this or like do drugs here. So like with that said, who are some of the people locally or like major that you would love to just do a track with?
Word. Actually, so no. So locally, I'm gonna say that I would love to do a track with Flawless Real Talk. Yes. You know, because he's also into doing like the educational stuff. I've seen him like, you know, him and his team, they go to schools and like, you know, they perform for the kids and like, you know, give talks on, you know, exactly. Yeah. It's about giving back. You know, currently I probably want to say like, you know, J. Cole and like Kendrick Lamar. You know, I feel like those are cliche answers a little bit. You know, that's everybody's favorite, but you know, things like that. And then my favorite artist of all time is Black Thought from The Roots.
Yes.
So like he's like so underrated. And I saw The Roots live at the House of Blues like at the beginning of last year. And dude, that was the best show I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it was like, they did Beatles covers, they did like Led Zeppelin covers.
What?
They did a cover of like Hotline Bling. It was dope. It was
That's
like the levels of like what they did was really
diversity.
Cool. And it was really inspiring for me because, you know, when we first started the band, we were just like, oh, we're just gonna do originals. And I realized, no, we could just like do like half and half, like covers and like, you know, and then original things too, because sometimes some people will never be able to experience certain artists like ever in their lives, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of want to bring that aspect of it too.
Yeah, I mean, tell us a little bit about that, the Funk Underground. How did like this like your band concept is so sick because it's not just like a hip hop artist with a bunch of musicians playing his backing tracks. Like, this is a collective where you guys write these songs together. You put all this stuff together. So like,
so basically the way it actually works is that we have people that produce the music. And the first album, you know, we were actually like borrowed a lot of material from like Jay Dilla and also I want to say DJ Premier. Okay. Basically, so we like kind of recreate a lot of those materials, but you know, and then we have songs like Strike That Empire Back and also Scenario, which were created by producers that were recreated by the band, and then but the band adds their own little flair to it, you know, so that it sounds different. And the way that like I view like performance is that it should never sound exactly the way that it sounds on the MP3. You know what I mean? Like even when you're borrowing from other artists, you want your flair and like your personality and character to be in that, so that people like differentiate you from other artists. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a tribute, but it's like I'm just as good at their own song as they are. You know what I mean?
Word.
So it's like,
I dig that.
Yeah.
So Sydesho, you just dropped your latest tape, The Maestro. Yes. Are you gonna be performing one of those songs off that tape for us? What are you performing for us?
So the song that I'm performing is called Imagen That, featuring Chloe Kibble. So that project I'm really proud of. The producer, his name is Flea the Maestro. He's out of Brooklyn. Been working with him for like a year now. Engineered by my homie Cognate from Vermont, basically. So I was like outreaching.
He's everywhere. He was reaching all over the place, dude, all over the New England and East Coast.
I don't like to sit still. I don't like to sit still, man. And I feel like outreaching to people outside of the city will bring them this way. And, I think, like, what happens is that local artists get upset that they don't have enough support here. And it's like, well, if you never leave, man, and bring those connects this way, our scene will never grow.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's how you really build the scene, is you have to leave and come back with those connections and then make it, like, amp your city up. You know what I mean? Because if, like, people think you're dope, when you're out there, they're like, oh, well, maybe I got to check out Rhode Island. You know what I mean? And see what's up. And our scene is, like, slowly rising.
And it's growing. And we got to, like, I love to give, credit where it's due with people like Flawless going out there and performing like that. Like, people like Chachi going out to Cape Verde to do tracks. People like Passionate, there's a bunch of artists. I don't want to, like, single anybody out specifically. I mean, like, guys like C's, Nino.
Yep.
But yeah, it's great to have all those people.
Yeah.
I mean, in the meantime, though, how can people get in touch with you to keep up with what you're doing?
So you guys can... Oh, okay. So you guys can follow me on Facebook.com/Sideshow. It's SYDESHO. You can follow me on SoundCloud.com/Sideshow, or you can go to thefunkunderground.com to see all our bookings, all our tours, and shows that are coming up.
Word. In the meantime, though, stick around because we're going to have my man Sideshow do his track for us. Imagine that. And it's going to be pretty dope. So make enough noise for Sideshow real quick. Yo, and we'll be right back.
Sideshow. Imagine that. Chloe Kibble. Imagine that. Flee the Maestro. Imagine that. Sideshow the Maestro. Imagine that. My head is full with dark noise. To overcome that, I speak with a strong voice. Cause it's easy to make the wrong choice. Little man transforming into these grown boys. So while you're dreaming about a Rolls Royce, keep waiting for that. The good comes to those that work while they're breaking it back. And ain't no waiting for my place in the map. Cause guaranteed that I'm just making it happen. These false moves get erased in the past. Imagine that. Imagine facts with vets all my people. Nothing evil. And the air we breathe around us wasn't lethal. Imagine that. Imagine life without a ghetto. Every fellow human being living right now holding on to the threshold. Imagine that. Now just imagine a world where everybody got a passion, no negative reactions. A man can lose his mind waiting for this to happen. I guess the only thing we can do is just imagine that. Providence, rise with us, y'all. Check it. Imagine that. We on the couch with SooperVega. Check it out. Imagine that. Clap your hands up. Clap your hands up. Come on. Imagine that. Sideshow. Imagine that we holding on to this image of higher quality living. We forget how work pays off and that life is more than a scrimmage. Life is more than the difference between these separate religions. Understand that we all the same, doesn't matter the distance, doesn't matter the district. Whether righteous or wicked, we all inherit the spirit. Hope you inherit these lyrics, just listen close and you'll hear it. He's paying cause it's hard to live with. We suffer through some losses, my count was on double digits. Now stop until I finish, cause failure's an epidemic. These lifestyles you mimic and have you sent to a clinic. These ain't my people, just died a high percentage. The heartbeat's a drum roll, that's 1,000 bullets per minute. Who said I gave you permission to start quitting? I can jumpstart a mission with no gas or an engine. Life got no limits, I ride with the ceiling missing. Somehow I move forward with no key in the ignition. Imagine that. The funk underground, yeah, Sideshow. Imagine that. Check it out, yeah. Imagine that. Prop City 4-1. Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
day.